Blockis. My name is Kurti Chognin. I'm the CTO of Belgrade-based startup Between, and I'm going to give you a short overview of our product, Finspot platform, which was partly developed with the funds from the accelerator. What we're looking at now at the moment is our landing page, and this is where we channel the companies that want to do factoring. This page, we have a page for private investors, where we talk to the individuals who are going to submit money through a platform that's going to be used for the factoring purposes. But for now, the focus is on the companies. They are here by any channel, and they jump into to open our account, get to our onboarding process. It's more or less the same version. And here we asked for some basic data from the company: how much money you need. When do you need that money? Just for the informational purposes. And then we ask the user to say from which company is he coming. And that's the basic contact information that we get. We want to get it as soon as possible so that we can contact the users if they're for whatever reason stuck. Okay, use the address. For another one. Okay, this one works. And then we ask some informal questions. So what is the bank that you're using? This is important for the bank statements later on, for the format of them. Do you use any ERP system? If yes, this is just a question for the potential integration with ERP systems in the future. And then we ask them to present us with the bank statements, which would help us give them a better limit. This is not this is optional at the moment, but is highly valuable to us if we can get that information. Also, we are completely open with the formats. At the moment, we don't want to present too big of a barrier for the user. The last thing that we ask for is the invoice, where we want to see the dates, we want to see who is the buyer and what is the exact amount. This can also, for now, be presented in any possible format. Also, because we're aware that the tax saviness of our users is not that big in Serbia at the moment. And then they have submitted an onboarding request, where we send them an email. Hopefully should arrive soon, yeah, where they can get a temporary password, and they can actually log into the password to the platform. Greeted with a wall. We provide them with, there is something behind. They can see the platform, but they cannot do anything. We are not sure that they are from the company that they just said, right? That's why we ask that from the official account of this company, they need to provide a payment of $1 dinar to us, and then we can activate their account. While this is happening, we already started with the credit risk assessment based on the data they provided and the data which is available from third-party resources. So while all of this is happening, we also, on the side of our employees, have a module that's going to deal with the terms, limits, and so on of the client. The terms here, based on the credit risk assessment that was performed, you can create a contract for this company. Creating a contract means, let's not dive too much into it, but just giving the basic stuff. So until when it's going to last, what are the interest rates, if late interest rates, what is the method to calculate the interest, and so on. Some basic information. What's important, if you go back to the contracts here, you can also add the limits. So this is the output of the credit risk assessment process, and here you add a general limit, and then you can also add a limit towards other companies. So we segment the limit toward the buyers of that company. Once the credit risk assessment is done, the fraud assessment is done, and the a contract is created with a limit, a company can actually start to finance the invoices. And I'm just going to show you that on a more developed account that we have in this test environment. So here is a company with already some setup limits toward companies, already has some invoices which are available for financing, so on and so forth. And let's go ahead and add an invoice. In dinars, and that's more or less it. So now in the sent invoices, you can see that there is a new invoice. We ask for the verification of the other side. This can happen through an email, or it can happen if the other side already has access to the platform. Let's say this invoice was verified. As you can see, it's green. I can ask for financing, and there, based on my contract terms that I created, I can see what is the amount of the interest, how many days, and so on and so forth, and I can actually see how much money will I get from financing this invoice. Okay, so the company, quickly you've seen how the company can request the invoice, and now I'm jumping into the part that was developed with the Blockis accelerator, and that's basically the part where we introduce the private investors. The onboarding for them is quite similar, but it's much simpler, and it's also, I'm going to show you, it's also developed for mobile, so this is something that you could do on your mobile phone. What we want to do here is, again, as soon as possible, provide the contact info. If you have an Ethereum account already or wallet address, you can give us that, but you don't need to do it immediately. You can also do that afterwards if somebody doesn't know, and so on. And the bank account also, which is going to be used for paying the investments, it's something that can optionally be added later. Then we have just a marketing question, nothing special, and the flow is more or less the same. So we, again, you get an email, because it's more similar to the company onboarding. You need to pay the money from that account, and then you will be allowed, after the other KYC AML procedures are done, to join the platform and start investing. As an investor, you have an overview of what are your activities on the platform, what is the activity of everyone else aggregated on the platform, just to see as a marketing tool. And then you have your history, or how were your investments placed, and what was the credit risk of the investments. For instance, you can actually set up. So here we have a wallet address, the account number. You see your investors are on, and you can select which category do you want to invest, right? The bigger the category, the better returns you can get. Your limit per the investment, and the balance that you have. So if you paid us $1 million, you would see initially the balance of 1 million here, and this will be distributed if your investment is on and there are investments that fit in those preferences. Okay, so we have a number of investors on the platform with their preferences, and we also participate in the investment. So with our own wallet address, the Finspot wallet address, we participate in every investment with 50%, because we have requested financing for an invoice of 10,000, right? And it's being in processing at the moment. So if you now go as a between employee, we call that the bank at the moment, we can see a notification that somebody requested financing. So Ambex requested financing. We can see that request here, and we can decide to validate it. If we see that it's all fine, we decide to validate it. Again, what is the contract and all the details of the contract, all fine, right? Now, at the moment, what's happening is that we are first setting the status of this to approved, informing the user, creating a document in our ERP system back office that's going to be the basis for the actual payment. And the last thing that we do is we're creating a token contract where we aggregate a number of investors based on their preferences and place them onto the financing request. So okay, that's it. Just seen that it was a success. And now if we go as a private investor, should actually see that there is a new investment. So let's see it here. There was the investment of 10,000, participated 50%. 50% was by Finspot. This is the due date of the invoice, and if you go to the blockchain address, you can actually see the contract in Ropsten just 53 seconds ago. At the moment, it's an ERC20 token. This is what we wanted to do as an initial MVP, but will definitely be expanded to something more cost efficient, like maybe like ERC1155. And you can see that was 10,000 dinars, which was split into two addresses. So the Finspot address and the private investor address, which both have 50%. Okay, last but not least, if you go back as a bank, so I'm really jumping over many topics, but yeah, That's the time limitation. If you go in as a bank and look at this request, there is something that you see here. It's ERP system, a document ID 262. And this is what we also worked quite a lot is if we go now to our ERP test environment, you can actually see that out of this, what was created was an automatical document that will be used as the basis both for payment, the bookkeeping, and also for connecting the payments of the real life world back into the platform. So here is